Okay. All right. Mm, so, okay. So, anyone hear me in the chat? So basically, we're gonna be reacting to Tyler's Luffy versus Ichigo, whatever the fuck. This is Ichigo. So
Souls, and if characters aren't up to par, then their souls are literally.
so
Really getting blinked away by.
Tyler basically does fast
Serious
scaling.
dictation was driving me
So
crazy, so I switched to whisper flow. Here's why I'll never go back.
let's see, because I've gotten a lot of requests to debunk this video. I don't really dabble in bleed scaling that much, so it's a request from someone. So I'm gonna debunk the video because I know the scaling is ass. I know the scaling is ass, but it's Tyler and he doesn't really know how to scale. He said Alien X would beat Goku, which makes absolutely no sense. So
Their peak and giving them what I believe is the highest but most reasonable tier of power. It should already be given that these characters' baseline are planetary and FTO, which I will elaborate.
yeah, baseline baseline Ichigo and Naruto should be planetary. I don't know about Luffy though. He has basically like island level feats. Luffy on the high end is like country level. You can rank him the multi-continental. So I don't think all of them are baseline planetary. It's not possible. So let's go.
More in the video as to why, but just know for people that believe that it's impossible for these characters to be in this tier of power and it's impossible for them to destroy planets or.
It's impossible for Luffy to be planetary. Like at this point in the story, it's impossible. Luffy cannot be planetary. So I don't understand why you're showing Luffy when you're talking about this specifically.
Some cringe argument like on some like Goku's only planet level BS. I'm sorry, go cry somewhere else. I really don't want to hear it, bro. And the same thing applies to the people who think that Naruto, Luffy, and
Don't put Luffy in the planetary argument. Don't put Luffy in the planetary argument. Stop behaving as if Ichigo, Luffy, and Naruto are somewhat equal or something. No, they're not. The only two characters that have any reasonable planetary statements are Ichigo and Naruto. So I don't understand why Luffy is in this argument.
Ichigo are like multiversal and they can beat Goku individually. For these individuals, please do me a favor and just get off the video. I do not want to deal with you in the comments. But with that out of the way, let's do it! Now, I'm gonna start off with Naruto first,
Okay, this is gonna be good.
because for some reason people think I hate Naruto and I'm biased towards.
Yes, you are. You are biased towards Naruto because you downplay his scaling a lot. So people having that notion about you, it's not wrong. I've seen multiple of your videos. You don't ever scale Naruto to the levels he's supposed to be. So obviously people would think you hate Naruto because you constantly downplay him when you put him in your videos. So
One Piece when literally that's just not true. I
it is true.
have made claims that I probably wouldn't agree with now, but I mean, that's just kind of how it is with arguments constantly changing over time. But Naruto at his best would upscale from characters like Kaguya,
You don't have to use the Kaguya argument every time. Naruto actually has feats fighting Toneri. Toneri could move the moon out of orbit. So moving the moon out of orbit, when it comes to physics, when you move the moon out of orbit, it scales you to like planetary because moving the moon is not a moon level feat. If we're going through science, Naruto is the more consistent character in the big three. So moving the moon would be planetary. And what again? We have Naruto characters being able to create moons like from nothing. They can create moons. You can claim it's hacks, but it really isn't because you're using their chakra to perform this. And in Naruto, it's stated that if you don't scale to what you're doing, you most likely explode. And we saw that from Madara and Toneri, so it's pretty consistent. So you don't have to use Kage. Kage is not the only planetary meta in the show.
with her truth-seeking orbs being capable of destroying planets. Base Kinshiki and
I don't think it says just planets in the data book. It says it can turn the world to not. So turning the world to nothing. It could also mean the world in Japanese can mean universe, planet, or society. So we have to look at the context. And if we're talking about the context of the data book, it means like we all know Kaguya's dimensions don't have a society. Kaguya's dimensions don't have a society. Kaguya's dimensions are not just planets, and obviously they have celestial bodies in them. So obviously, Kaguya's dimensions would fall into the definition of universe. So realistically, you're wrong.
Toneri are also capable of performing feats like this,
So now you bring the Toneri argument.
who weaker versions of Naruto could deal with. Even after his chakra being drained and Sasuke using a lot of his chakra after teleporting everyone to the battlefield, they were making Momoshiki baby rage during their battle. Momoshiki was capable of absorbing Kaguya's
I have a lot of problems with this Momoshiki dimension argument. I feel like I have to address this because a lot of Naruto fans use this as some sort of scaling. The dimension Momoshiki is in is not it's not a parallel like dimension. It's not like a parallel dimension. Like this is not the dimension you're talking about. This is most likely just to Kage what's the fuck? Momoshiki sitting in the Naruto universe on some random planet. This is not the dimension he created. I don't believe that because I've read the novels, I've watched the anime, I've watched the movie, and nothing in those media implied that this dimension is the dimension he created. Obviously, we know. Obviously, we know that Otsutsuki can create dimensions. It's pretty common knowledge by now. We know Otsutsukis can create dimensions, but I don't think this is the dimension you're talking about. And when you're talking about him draining a star, it's most likely talking about planet because in Japanese, the word for like celestial body is hoshi, and hoshi can mean a variety of things. So if we're talking about the context of the novel and what Momoshiki is actually made to do in it as an Otsutsuki, it would mean he would just be draining a planet. This is most likely just a mistranslation. So if you're using this to claim Momoshiki star level, it's wrong.
dimension, which included things like stars and celestial bodies. Naruto, at best, without being disingenuous, could be in the solar system range, but
No. Solar System Naruto, that's pretty ass, bro. Naruto at the absolute best would be like, let's say, large planetary to dwarf star level. That's the most consistent you can put Naruto. If you want to use the Kaguya scaling, sure, Naruto scales are like solar system level because most of Kaguya's dimensions have celestial bodies and one of them has a star. So obviously, Solar system level is pretty consistent if you use that kind of scaling. But I don't use solar system level Naruto. Yeah, it's pretty ass. I'm just being as fair as possible.
For sure he's at least higher than Large Star. And
Uh,
again, for those who think Kaguya and Momoshiki are universal, please click off this video and
you claim like bro, you can't just make claims without any sort of evidence. If anyone claims those feats are universal and they can, I could basically just prove these feats are universal, but we know that in Naruto most of the abilities are like hacks. That's the only reason why I believe a lot of characters in Naruto aren't universal, because most of the time their abilities are done with hacks. But you can't actually debunk anyone that uses universal Naruto. You can actually debunk anyone that uses Universal Naruto realistically, um because you know Universal Naruto is a pretty solid argument in 2026. So there are a lot of good arguments for it. There's a lot of stuff that happened in Boruto that support what we're talking about. So I just don't use Universal Naruto based on my own preference. But anyone who chooses to use it, I don't think you have any way to debunk it.
have a horrible day. As for speed, well, Momoshiki
Okay. So the speed part is gonna be pretty interesting because I know this is gonna be a low ball.
absorbing said stars would have to require at least MFTL plus speeds, which is consistent since even before Naruto entered the war, he was
Okay.
way into light speed and got
Don't use the Raikage scaling ever. I know a lot of you think he's just scaling Naruto the normal way, but if you want to scale these characters accurately, like without any kind of trash scaling, the Raikage statement, it's not light speed, because when you're talking about the Raikage in the data book, you're just trying to exaggerate the speed, like claiming he's really fast. So that like light doesn't really mean he's moving at light speed. There are other ways to get the Raikage to light speed without using the data book. So yes, Casey and Naruto would be faster than light, but it's not because of the data book statement. Stop using that. It's 2026.
to a ridiculous degree. Baron Mode Naruto would fart on Momoshiki, so he'd obviously upscale from these feats. As for hacks, well, Naruto
Bro, Naruto section is so fast. If we're talking about Naruto's hacks, he has shadow clones, creation of all things, Kurama avatar, sensory abilities. He can sense into other dimensions. He basically has an infinite like resource of chakra. He basically has infinite chakra. So none of these people he's fighting are gonna outlast him. I've skilled Naruto multiple times. You people know where I put Naruto when it comes to all this stuff, so it's not really new. Let's just check his other
Naruto
skills.
obviously can clone himself 1,000 times over, has multiple forms of Durin Egg with Magnet Release, Rasen Shuriken, and Truth-Seeking Orbs, which I will give him for this battle. Truth-Seeking Orbs are capable of not only destroying your body, but also your soul, as we see Minato's ghost not having an arm due to being hit with a
Okay.
Truth-Seeking Orb. On top of all of this, he can attack from all ranges essentially, has mastery over every basic chakra nature,
Yeah.
precognition, enhanced senses, and can fly, which weirdly enough, these three are all capable of doing. Naruto is a beast, but is he Himothy?
Okay. So the best part of the
Vibe
video.
coding in AI Studio with Gemini 3 lets you
Yeah. Does anyone in the chat?
Next up, we got my goat, Luffy.
Yes. My best part in the entire video. Luffy scaling. Okay.
Monkey D. Luffy is a character I have discussed on the channel before, so I'll make this section very brief. Old
Right.
Whitebeard can destroy the entire One
And here we have a problem. We have a problem already. He's already using the Whitebeard statement. I've debunked this multiple times, but like he has the power to destroy the world. It doesn't necessarily mean he can like bust the planet King Vegeta style. It's most likely just talking about the society, because like in One Piece, I've heard them say, uh, "What would you do when you have the entire world as your enemy?" And I know a lot of people would, like a lot of wank scalers would say, "Okay, it could just mean that the planet is coming after them," which makes absolutely no sense. So the Whitebeard statements don't work because there are no feats in One Piece that support this whatsoever. There's no consistency. There's no nothing. There's no planetary feed before this. There's no planetary feed after this. So realistically, this statement is just trash. Even all the data books they bring of Whitebeard can tilt the Earth. Tilting the Earth is not like shit. He's not actually tilting planet Earth. He's just talking about the ground. If you understand how literature works, you would understand the way they use certain terms. So using this statement is already wrong. So that's, I knew he would use the statement.
One Piece world, which has been calculated to be at small
Nope. The One Piece world is just like maybe 7 times bigger than the Earth. It's not star level. All the scales don't make sense. They don't make sense whatsoever. These are just headcanon calculations. If we were to use these kind of statements, then the Naruto planet will be the size of a solar system, and you don't see me using that. So, the star level scaling, it has no basis. It makes no sense.
star. Luffy in Gear 5 scaling to Kaido, who's relative to this Whitebeard, bare minimum would scale to this, and due to upscaling from his earlier versions that can dodge light.
No, Luffy at this point is not light speed. Basically, he's using observation hockey to dodge the beams. We can literally see it in the episode when he dodges it, and the pacifista says he's using hockey. We know it's not armament hockey he's using. We know it's not the other forms of hockey. We know he's using observation hockey because they basically zoom in on his eyes. So anyone arguing it's not observation hockey, my argument would just be more parsimonious. So Luffy would just not be light speed here because he's obviously from a considerable distance from the pacifista. So that's also another, you know, oh no, the fuck. Okay.
And use Gear 2, which is a 10 times multiplier.
You have no evidence for that again. There, One Piece has no stated multipliers. I've always said this. They have no stated multipliers. He just pulled that 10 times out of his ass. There's no statement. There's no statement of that. If there's a statement of any One Piece character getting a multiplier, I want someone to post it. They never do. They just want you to believe, oh, this is 10 times, 10 times upon 10 times upon 10 times, so it's 100 times. Unlike series like Naruto and Bleach, when multipliers are actually stated, One Piece realistically does not have any stated multipliers. So at best, you can just give him 2 times.
Multiplier, and then Gear 4, which is at least 3 times higher than Gear
You see how he's just pulling the numbers out of his ass?
2. Plus, Luffy legit surpasses his Gear 4 self in base 2 times in the series. Once in Whole Cake and again in Wano. Meaning, bare minimum, Luffy is definitely moving in the MFTL plus ranges, which is over.
Oh my god. So we went from Lightspeed to MFTL with no stated multipliers. He just used headcanon for everything, and nothing else. So Luffy would just basically be on the low levels of FTL based on his fight with Kizaru. So Kizaru would just be a Lightspeed character, and Luffy can match Kizaru, so he would just be FTL. So that's basically it.
Over 1,000 times into Lightspeed. As for hacks, the most important things to note going into this battle are his Future Sight, Advanced Armament, and Conquerors, which can
Future Sight is completely useless if the character you're facing is so much faster. It's not even close. So it plays no role in this battle because we've already established that Naruto is way faster than Luffy. So no, no, his observation hockey would just be useless.
hit through characters' durability. However, we know that he can't just one-shot characters way stronger than him, as Kaido was taking a bunch of Duraneg attacks due to being built different. And one can argue, but hockey! But for these versus battles, we normally equalize the energies to make things simple and not get into those, oh, he doesn't have chakra, or oh, they technically can't see Ichigo. Come on, guys, we are past this buffoonery. Come on, this is caveman stuff. Come on, let's keep evolving. Gear 5's Toon Force and wacky abilities are obviously factors that could give Luffy the edge if he's especially significantly above his opponents.
No, man, he isn't. So it's useless. Luffy is basically a non-factor in this battle. So
Lastly, we have Ichigo Kurosaki, who is another character I've talked about, but not nearly as much as Luffy. Ichigo by the end of Blood War is
by the way, Ichigo is the slowest amongst all of them. Luffy would blitz Ichigo. Yeah. So
basically the strongest dude around, being above the likes of Yamamoto. The same man who's capable of destroying the Soul Society passively with his Bankai, which represents the living world, and we know in the same place there's a night and day cycle, meaning there are also stars in the Soul Society.
Soul Society is basically talking about the human world, which is the Earth. It's talking about the Earth, not the the entire universe. So Soul Society would just be the human world. Soul Society would just be like equivalent to the human world. So that would just be like a surface level feed. So
This argument is a little shaky for a lot of people, but this is pretty much the bare bones planetary bleach scaling besides using the movie stuff, which I don't really like doing. But we're going to be using it anyway. The reason why it's a little shaky is because we don't know the exact time frame of when Yamamoto was going to destroy the entire Soul Society. I would assume that because they kept threatening that it would destroy the Soul Society, maybe it was going to happen over a short period of time, but we can't really just depict a time frame. However, generally people do accept this as planetary, and characters like Butterfly Aizen and Blood War Kenny should scale above this version, with Ichigo scaling above them tens of times over due to his increase in power. And even in the second movie, which is canon, an explosion goes off that is strong enough to destroy a small star, which you can get up to solar system through upscaling with the multipliers in the series. Which I'll just get into now because I have brought this up in my previous Bleach videos, and this also kind of helps me get through Ichigo's AP and speed at the same time, so let me cook. The difference between Shikai and Bankai is a 10 times difference. The Holomask, along with any of Ichigo's other significant power-ups, would have to be at least a 10 times increase, since they are implied to be more significant than Bankai. And we know this because even forms like Vasto Lorde, which isn't even Ichigo's strongest form, is unlike anything that Uryu's ever seen before. And guess what, guys? He'd just keep getting stronger and stronger. Now, I went over as to why this applies to AP because, you know, it's all based on destroying a small star in the second movie, which is canon. But what about speed? Well, to put it simple,
this is the best part of Ichigo's scaling because they have no evidence for anything they're saying. So um
I mean, we just take all these multipliers and then we just apply it to Ichigo in the Soul Society arc, who should upscale from this guy who could
this attack is never stated to be light speed. Nothing in Bleach is ever stated to be light speed. So you can't just say, "Oh, this person dodged this light based attack, so it's light speed." No, you actually have to bring evidence as to why that attack is light speed. Kizaru in One Piece was stated to be light speed. The Light Fang in Naruto is light speed. Mifune's Sword Slash is the light speed. Water Fang Bullet, Itachi, light speed. So you can't just say, "Oh, this attack is light speed" with no statements at all. So this could just be like lightning speed or anything less than that. It doesn't have to be light speed. So
can dodge an actual beam of light. Pretty self-explanatory. I mean, Ichigo pre-Soul Society is apparently implied to be blocking spiritual light, and even though
spiritual light is not actual light. You this is 2026, so I just want to let everyone know that spiritual light is not the same as natural light in our world. They're not made of the same things. The only reason why light in our world is like as fast as it is because it's massless. So spiritual light has mass. Spiritual particles have light have mass as well. So we see them destroy things. We see them, pummel mountains and stuff. So obviously these things have mass. So they're not completely massless. They cannot be light speed.
the homeless Espada are shooting light speed attacks, like,
No evidence.
it's pretty common knowledge that these characters are well into light speed.
It's not common knowledge. Yeah, sure.
As for hacks, well, I mean, we know in Bleach characters are just dinking each other's souls, and if
Okay, so soul hacks.
characters aren't up to par, then their souls are literally getting blinked away by the opponent. For this battle, I'll say that Ichigo can't do that if he's capable of doing so, and instead I'll just say that his soul hacks is mainly going to be applied with his Ryatsu, and if his attacks connect, then yes, it would affect their soul. Aside from that, he's resisted the likes of Aizen's attacks, which affect your soul on an atomic level, and can even resist Aizen's Ryatsu, which erases people's very existence if you're weaker than him. Has precog thanks to Kisuke's training, plus insane senses similar to our other combatants. Let's get ready to rumble! It's clear looking at it initially that Luffy is sadly not holding up to par to
Even if you scaled Luffy and everyone here like accurately, which you didn't, Luffy would still be the weakest, so no problem.
the other two with their peak scaling. Solar Luffy, I think, is a big reach, and at best, for now, we can only say he's well into star level.
Huh? What?
Luffy may be down, however, he wouldn't be completely out as his Duraneg and speed to keep up with them could be factors for him maybe winning. However, due to Naruto's insane regen plus Ichigo's insane power gap, I really don't think these factors matter all that much. And at best, Luffy would be relative with Naruto if you believe
What is with the Naruto downplay? What do you mean that at best Luffy would be relative to Naruto? No, he's not. Even from the scaling you did, they're not equal whatsoever. So what are you saying? Luffy would be equal to Naruto.
that solar system is a reach for Naruto, and you can only say that he's star level. Regardless, Naruto scaling is just more valid. And Ichigo is the only one out of the three, in my opinion, who has scaling that's concretely into solar system level due to the amount of amps he gets in the series.
Why? You basically use the exact same way you scaled scaled Ichigo, or you use the exact same way you used to scale Naruto for Ichigo, which is there are no on-screen feats. You just use your head cannon to guess, oh, this attack is star level and this attack could destroy a star or whatever. That's the basically what you did for Ichigo. So why is Ichigo scaling somehow more valid? You don't explain anything you do or say. You just say, oh, this is the case because this is the case. You actually have to provide evidence for what you're saying. So
And with these increases, I wouldn't be surprised if Ichigo was faster than them. However, relative or not, Ichigo would just be so much more powerful than the other two that his Ryatsu would just turn them into pixie dust. In terms of soul hacks,
he gives no evidence for this, by the way. All he does is wank Ichigo, lowball Naruto, and highball Luffy to the greatest degree. Luffy realistically, let me tell you where these characters realistically scale. Luffy, island level to country level. Naruto, planetary to dwarf star level. Ichigo, the same thing, planetary to dwarf star level. When it comes to speed, Naruto's FTL plus to MFTL, Luffy's FTL, Ichigo massively hypersonic. He's the slowest amongst all of them. So if Naruto and Ichigo were somewhat equal in AP, Naruto would just blitz him, use soul hacks, erasure. He has a lot of things to deal with Ichigo. So realistically, Ichigo would lose if they were to do a 3v whatever 3v3. Luffy is basically a non-factor. Even though he's faster than Ichigo, he wouldn't be able to harm Ichigo. So he's a non-factor and he's getting soul crushed. But Naruto would just beat the fuck out of Ichigo, realistically. So and there is no bias. I don't even care, not anymore. You can say Ichigo wins. I don't care, but I just want to tell people the truth. Ichigo is not as strong as people portray him to be. He's been, wanked for the longest time, even 2020, 2021, 2022. The peak years of power scaling, people just believe that Ichigo is, this universal, multiversal, uh, infinite, immeasurable speed character when he's really not. He has no light speed feats, and most of the feats in Bleach equate to planetary. So Ichigo and Naruto, when it comes to AP, are basically almost in the same boat because Naruto, unlike Ichigo, has actual consistent scaling, which basically cannot be refuted. So um, this video's I'll give it a 5/10, mainly because the Naruto AP scaling was kind of okay, but the Luffy side trash. Ichigo speed scaling trash. Luffy speed scaling too trash. So I'll just give it a 5/10. That's just because of the Naruto scaling. So Naruto slams. Yeah, Naruto slams. So that's basically the end of the stream.